Hello everybody. No trees in this video, but if you saw my what I got for Christmas video from 2021, which was published just a couple of short weeks ago, you'll notice that I didn't get the turntable that I'd hoped Father Christmas was going to bring to me, even though I dropped plenty of hints, I can tell you. And so I've had to resort to building my own. And looking around on the internet, I've decided to steal the idea from Kenneth de Bon and his turntable, and I'll put a link to his channel and the video of his turntable that I'm going to, well, not exactly copy. It's not going to be an exact copy, but I'm heavily influenced by, but always give credit where credit is due. So the package that was in the shorts video titled "What Now" was in fact some ply. I looked around some of the DIY shops in my local area, and they were all quite happy to sell me a large 6x4 sheet, 6 foot by 4 foot sheet, but I haven't got a jigsaw and I haven't got the capacity to cut it to size, and I'm also a bit of a Scrooge. So I went online and I found a company online that would cut pieces of ply to any size and shape using a CNC machine, and I got these two pieces of ply for £10 64 per sheet. They are 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters. They're 9mm ply, and I'm now wishing I possibly went for a 12mm ply for the top sheet, but I may get a second sheet to laminate onto the top of this if I don't feel it's strong enough for some of my bigger pots. It's going to be absolutely ample for many of my smaller pots. So yeah, so they were £10 64 pence each, and there was £4.95 postage and packaging. And this is marine ply, so once I've stained it, it should last, well, I'm 57 now, so if it lasts 10 years, I shall be 67. Will I worry if it doesn't last much longer than that? I don't know. Maybe. Never say never. So I ordered that. So that was well, let's call it £26 in total. I bought, because I've got some big trees and it's slightly bigger than the one that Kenneth did, 2 sets of rollers. So that's 8 in total, which I plan to spread out across to give it plenty of support around the weight, and some scrap timber. I'm going to cut some squares of scrap timber for feet, and that's about it. Oh, I bought myself a paintbrush, which was £2. These were £5 each, so that was £10. So 26, 36, £38. I spent a couple of quid on a packet of screws to screw these to the wood, and so about 50 quid for what I hope will be a good size, long-lasting turntable. Okay, because I'm an old cheapskate, I'm going to reuse what I've got rather than buy a new can, and because this stuff says it needs to be applied at 10 degrees C or above in a ventilated area. It's 3 degrees outside today, so I'm going to do it in our newly redecorated shower room downstairs, which is heated, and hopefully my wife won't watch this video and she'll never need to know. So I can open my new brush. Better, and give the can a good shake. This stuff is supposed to be touch dry in 30 minutes to an hour, So I will give this or these a good coat now, and then in an hour's time whip them over and coat the other side. I'll do the edges first. Already splotting it onto the cardboard, but never mind. Okay, so there we go. That's both of them done. Going to leave that very touch dry, flip it over, and do the other side, which I won't inflict upon you, and then a second and third coat later. Okay, so it's a couple of days later, and I don't know where I was thinking. It might take me a couple of weeks to get this project done. I was kind of thinking the weather's going to be grotty and I'm not going to be able to get the staining and stuff done, but of course worked out a little cheat around that by doing it in the house when the missus was at work. What the eye don't see, the heart don't grieve over, that sort of thing. And so now I've got everything ready for assembly. I've got my feet and my wheels and my centre nut, box of screws, glue, pins, everything I need. So let's clear the decks. I'm ready for the first job. I've just popped it on this bed of cardboard because the bench is very wet, and I want the bottom dry when I glue it. So we just shift everything to one side for now, because what I want to do is mark the centre of these boards and drill a hole. So I've chosen this one as my top board. It has the best finish with the least drips on it. So I'm going to flip that over so that I can drill from the underside, or at least mark the underside. And to do that, I'm simply going to do a couple of diagonals, measure twice, cut once. They always taught me. Okay, so that was relatively straightforward. Get that drilled. Okay, try not to deafen you. Hopefully I haven't mushed up the top too much, but I'm not too worried because I'm going to countersink that. Okay, so that was nice and easy. And now, just to simplify matters, I'm going to place the second one, which will be the base, underneath. Get my fingers under it. And now, make sure that doesn't slip. That should be fitting nicely. Okay, so that was easy. I'm just going to do a little countersink on this top piece, using a slightly wider spade bit. need to be careful not to go too far, but I do want to go obviously far enough that I can lose the head of this bolt. Not quite, a little more. Perfect. And I will just add a little bit of wood stain and covering to make sure those bits aren't exposed to moisture. But that goes all the way through. Now, it's possibly a bit weak and possibly a bit wobbly. So you may have noticed that I've made 6 of these feet, and that's 5 for the bottom, but I'm going to make a reinforcing block there. So the next trick is to drill a hole in one of these. Okay, so if you're of a nervous disposition, you might want to look away now. Hopefully I'll have all my fingers and thumbs left at the end of it. I'm just going to drill a hole through roughly the centre. So, and then once that is glued and screwed through the centrepiece with the board on top, that will stop any and all wobblage, I like that word, I may use it again. Putting the extra feet, or what will be the feet pieces as support, I'm going to take that top piece, and that should fit through there. I've made a hole in the cardboard underneath for it to slot through. I'm going to add some wood glue. So just judging by eye, the problem is I'm not on a proper firm background. It's bouncing about a little bit, and they have to move this onto a firmer surface. But I'm going to use 4 for strength. Okay, so that's that. You get the idea with that. I'm actually going to take that bolt out, put it on the floor, and give these nails a proper tap onto a firm surface, and then they'll go all the way down. As I suspected, the cardboard and the bouncy bench meant that the block has come away from the wood below, so that's why they don't line woodworking benches with cardboard, I guess. There we have it, firmly fixed. The bolt won't wibble and wobble about anymore. It's going to give me a good level surface, or level, what am I trying to say? I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Should give me a good firm basis for revolution. Okay, so on with the base. I'm going to mark lines horizontally and vertically across. So being as these are 40 by 40, if I measure that at 20, that should be central. Perfectly takes me pretty much smack bang through the centre of that hole, so that's a good sign. This will be hidden underneath, so I don't worry too much about marking lines onto it. You don't really see them, and the marker's not exactly strikingly marking it as it is. So okay, one of the things I was taught oh so many years ago in woodwork was how to measure, or how to get things the same without constantly measuring, and that was to use a piece of wood, making sure you use the same piece of wood to measure whatever it is you want to measure. So I've done some thinking about and planning on this already. So I'm thinking, if I use those pieces of wood from the edge of the hole that way, I can place the wheels like so along that vertical line, and then if I put one of these pieces that way, I can put a wheel there along that vertical line. They'll all be the same right the way round, and that will give the board good firm support underneath as it rotates with a heavy pot on it. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so you don't have to be perfect with these measurements, so long as they're pretty much equal all the way around. As I say, my old woodwork teacher claimed this method went back to the pyramids, at least, he said. If you wanted things to be the same, use the same piece of wood, you'd find whatever you needed to do to get the length you wanted to cut the measuring stick to that, and then whatever you measure with that will be that. So you could make 4 chair legs the same length using a measuring stick to measure rather than a tape measure. Of course, way back then they didn't really have measurements in the same way that we've got standardized measurements and things. Okay, so that's lined up with the edge of the center hole. That's vertically, and the center of the axle is lined up with my hole. I'm going to use the point of this blade bit as a kind of center punch to start my screws off with. So that one, once that one's in, the other one will be much easier anyway. Okay, so that's one. Make sure it's pretty much vertical. Start the hole. Bring that round like so you can see better. This screwdriver's seen better days. That's something else I should have asked Father Christmas for. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one, I'm going to use this on edge, line it up with the edge of the board, and the axle up with the line. Start my hole. Find my hole. Oops. Oh, that didn't go well. Try that again, Sid. Should have made that starting point better. As I say, it's only a couple of degrees centigrade. My fingers aren't as warm as they could be either, which doesn't help. Says he, making up excuses. Okay, make sure that's as square as can be. So that's the first two in place. So block, wheel, hole, it's not moving. How very terrible of you to keep moving. Just double check that hasn't moved. No, that's fine. So that's basically the platform that the top will rotate on. So next job is drill another hole for the piece that is going to be the center of the 5 legs. I probably wouldn't include that in the video. Okay, so there we have it. There is a hole through the centerpiece. So I'm going to move that down out of camera range and just bang those nails in fully on the floor. Okay, so that's secured now. Do the other 4 feet. This will help just keep it elevated off the deck and stop the water getting too much into it. And besides, it looks nicer to be on some sort of feet. So it should go slightly more straightforward because I just need to keep it in place, but I can see it's not moved. And so let's just move you slightly. Okay, so I'll do the other 3 and come back. Okay, so as you can see, Cooper's not very impressed with what I've been up to, but there is a kind of finished article. I say finished, need to put the top on. I need to find my bolt, which has fallen on the floor. There we go. Okay, so if I've done all this right and I've measured all this right, that should fit in there, and that should fit through the hole in there, and then I have a functioning turntable. Wow. I'm happy with that. It's not perfect, it's you know, I'm not a fabulous woodworker, but I think it'll do the job, and I think it'll do the job for as long as I need it to. Are you impressed now, Cooper? Is it okay with you? Would it be better with a biscuit? You're looking at it with a bit of suspicion. What do you think? Nice? No. Okay. Now there you have it. Cooper is unreserved in that judgment and unwavering. So nothing for it now but to give it a proper test. So I'm going to pop on it. The tree that I'm going to work on next, if you'll excuse my back, the tree that I'm going to be working on next, which is the fairly large liquid amber, and I'm going to be doing some pruning and some wiring and some just tidying up, getting it ready for winter, and that'll be the next video after this one. So there's something for you all to look forward to. And even though it's a fairly big tree and a fairly big pot, the turntable seems to be managing quite nicely. So there you have it. Once again, thank you, Kenneth, for the inspiration for this one. Credit where credit is due always. Thank you so much for watching. Please, please, please do take care of yourselves. Stay safe, everybody.